Everybody, welcome back. Today we have a video from Yes Theory, Dark Secrets of America's Most Obese Town. Let's get into it.
Hello.
Yeah. Are you guys from Yes Theory?
Yeah, we're from Yes Theory.
We kind of...
I think it's kind of suspicious that you just sit down and, people's like, hey, are you from Yes Theory? I don't understand. I mean, when I was in Greece, I had somebody come up to us once while we were at a cafe and recognize us, and we were a small channel, so I guess it happens, but I don't have that kind of face memory. I don't know.
Yes Theory.
We kind of...
There's no way.
So we're here to tell a story about unhealthy systems that's making us sick.
Oh, okay. And this is the most obese city, right?
It is.
Oh my god, no way. The portions down here, I feel like, are way bigger than in
They are. Here, there's so much fast food. That's kind of the problem.
What do you think made the difference in your upbringing?
I didn't grow up here.
You didn't grow up here. Where did you grow up?
Mexico.
Okay, I see.
I was also raised in Mexico, and it's an issue when you come here. Like the food, it's a big issue for everyone.
Yeah.
Lifestyle-wise,
so-
I feel like over there you have a lot more people that walk places.
Yeah.
Here everything's.
Yeah, so that's a big thing. We don't walk in America. And I mean, you could say, we built our cities this way, so it's our fault. But that happened pretty much 100 years ago. Most of our cities are fairly new. Most of our cities haven't been around before cars were invented. So the city planners designed them for the use of cars. When you go to Europe, when you go to, Mexico, I'd question that though, because they drive a lot in Mexico. But typically you walk a lot. I mean, when I live in Europe, typically I'd walk, 5 to 10 miles a day. And that'd just be doing normal routine stuff. Like if you're an American, the way that our cities are built, the way that our society is built, I really don't see you walking more than a mile a day. I know that they say you're supposed to get 10,000 steps in a day, but I just don't see most Americans doing that unless you're going to the gym, because there's no way that our society is built for it. It's not meant to be. And I think that, with saying that, portion sizes are so big, this is true. This is true. I mean, when me and the wife eat out here, typically we're just going to order one thing and then split it, because you're getting a family-sized portion for one person. And I will say, if you do that, lifestyle is a lot cheaper. Going out is a lot cheaper. So, yeah.
That's why I mentioned the drive-thrus. Everyone
We
goes.
came walking, actually. I told him,
Yeah, we came
let's walk.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids, and I teach them everything.
Yeah, that's another thing. Drive-thrus. Drive-thrus in America, everything has a drive-thru. Your coffee has a drive-thru. Your food has a drive-thru. Your liquor stores have drive-thrus. Your pharmacies have drive-thrus. There's really no need for you to socially interact with people. There's no need for you to get out of your car and walk. So, I mean, no wonder America has such a problem with health, because it's really just, there's no way for you to just biologically be healthy unless you're actively kind of working against the system. Because I mean, if you just go with the path of least resistance in the States, you're going to eat like trash. You're never going to exercise. You're going to be on your screens all day. You have to make a concerted effort to not do those things just to kind of thrive and be healthy in the States. Here we go.
Literally within the 2 blocks that we're in, I counted last night, there's 6 fast food restaurants. I'm not even trying to villainize fast food. People eat fast food in other places in the world, and it's okay. But when it's the main thing that people are consuming every day, because economically you've now locked them in a very specific spot where they can't afford to get groceries. Their work schedule doesn't allow them to cook.
What they're saying is true though. And I hope we can actually get through this video a little bit, but you're talking about older generations and them being healthier. I mean, in general, older generations do eat healthier. When we were in Turkey, we'd have family breakfast pretty much every day and just be like local cheeses, local jams, local preserves, local breads. You'd have like peppers and fruits in the morning. You always felt good. You never felt like you were being poisoned. You eat this stuff, if you eat this stuff every day, if you eat it like just once a day, you eat fast food, you feel bad, right? It messes with your stomach. I mean, you're having rough trips to the bathroom. No one eats fast food and feels good. It's really just truly not possible.
Remember when I was a pizza delivery driver in college, my dinner every day was McDonald's. At the time I would spend $6.50 on my dinner. It was amazing because I was saving.
Okay. And first off, yes, they have fast food all over the world, but I'll tell you what, it's not as good as it is in America. And that's because we pump our food full of chemicals, preservatives, sugars, fats, salts. I mean, we do it. We put things in our food that are illegal in other countries, and that's why when you go to outside the United States and you have McDonald's, it tastes like trash. When you have, I mean, even if you have like Domino's outside of America, it tastes like trash. There's no fast food outside of America that tastes like American fast food because it's lacking the chemicals necessary to make it that palatable and that tasty. And so people just don't eat it as much. And as far as the price goes, that's the other thing. I mean, the fast food has gotten so expensive that, I mean, it really shouldn't be possible for you to eat it as often as Americans do. And do they have, I mean, they do have fast food in other countries, but people just don't eat it as much. And I think that's mostly because it just doesn't taste as good. It doesn't taste as, you know, as palatable. It's just, I don't know, it's a bit different, but people don't eat it. People tend to, you know, go for home cooked meals. They tend to just, you know, make something, put it in the fridge, heat it up. Or just go out, because going out in other parts of the world, going out is normal. It doesn't, you know, it's more accessible to go eat out at restaurants because that's just what people do. And a big part of that, I think, is just like, you know, tipping culture and all that isn't a thing. So, you know, people aren't afraid to go out, you know, because they're not going to have to pay an extra 20% on top of already inflated prices. It's a thing, you know.
Money that summer, but you know, ultimately it's like you're eating the lowest grade food that you could possibly have without it being illegal.
Another common misconception about people who are struggling with their weight is they should simply eat healthier. While this is obviously correct, it isn't always simple. In the US, there are approximately 6 fast food restaurants per 10,000 people. This is more than double most European countries. Not only are they much more accessible than healthier alternatives, they're also much cheaper. And in McAllen, which has a poverty rate of...
The prices on that McDonald's menu have to be about 15 years old. Because, I mean, those are like the prices from when I was a kid. The design looked the same way too. I wonder if they're just doing that on purpose, kind of, you know, make you think that it is the only option because it is cheaper. Because I think if they showed the modern prices, and people would be like, the question would be, how are you eating out so much?
Around 21%, which is around double the national average. Being able to spend more money on a healthier alternative or taking the time out to prepare a healthier home-cooked meal isn't a simple choice. It's a privilege that many can't afford.
Okay. Farmers markets, right? Farmers markets in America are a joke. They're artisanal craft fairs, if anything. But actually trying to go there and shop for like a week or 2 weeks supply of food is just ridiculous. You know, you're going to be paying $10 for a loaf of bread. If you get any kind of produce, you're going to be paying double, triple the prices that you'll get at any store. In America, it doesn't make sense. You know, you go anywhere else in the world and you go to these markets because farmers actually bring their stuff in, or they bring them from like a agricultural depot. And, you know, you spend $20 and that's going to be a ton of produce for like a week, a ton of fresh eggs, cheeses, breads, all that. But farmers markets in America, I mean, it's just something to go do, but it's just kind of useless. I don't see a purpose in really going to them at all, except to get angry.
Kids eat free. That is so sick. I'm thinking about how manipulative this is. You're a dad or you're a mom. You don't have that much to support your family. Of course you're gonna fucking come here because you can have, you know, a member of your family eat for free. It's like, this is so fucking evil that you're using people's circumstances to just grab a family and have them come spend money here.
I guess yen.
All right, chill. Listen, IHOP isn't bad. IHOP isn't terrible. One of the first places we came, we went to breakfast at when we came back to the United States was IHOP. I worked there when I was a teenager, so there's a little nostalgia with it. But to say that it's cheap is stupid. Me and the wife, we got breakfast there. It was like $40, $50. We didn't even get that much. If you're gonna take your family there, if you have like kids, you know, 2 adults, you're looking at like $100, $115. So to say that, oh, this is evil, look, there's no other choice. Yeah, oatmeal, a big thing of oatmeal is like $2. You know, eggs are like $3. So and that's $5. That's $5, and that'll feed you for a couple days at least. You know, you don't have to get pancakes. And if you want to make pancakes, guess what? You can make it from scratch. I think this is really deceptive, and I think this is playing to the fact that most people can't take any accountability to the choices that they make. Most people are just gonna take the path of least resistance, and you know, when the effects finally start to hit them, they're gonna project that blame onto other people, especially because in our culture right now, it's kind of a socially advantageous to put yourself in the category of a victim. And, you know, a victim mentality is accessible to everybody, especially when it comes to the food that they put in their body. So these are choices we make. But IHOP, I mean, acting like it's evil, it's ridiculous.
Really sad about it, you know, now because now we start to speak, you know, that we couldn't afford eating out when we were young. But if we did sometimes, you know, it was maybe to a fast food chain or so, because that's the cheapest. So yeah. I'm like, thankfully good luck, you know, it didn't ruin my life, but it's ruined other people's life. And it's not okay.
It's unfair to just point at the people and be like, why are you not doing this? Why are you letting these bad habits control your lives? But it's not just their personal choice in the matter. You have to also look at the infrastructure, the lack of access to these like healthier food options. We're also not doing our...
No, I don't believe in this food desert thing. You know, I've lived all over this country, and every grocery store has everything that you need to be healthy, you know? It doesn't have to come in a box. You have chicken, rice, beans, any kind of meat. You can get produce anywhere. I mean, in America, I can get fresh mangoes in the middle of December in the mountains of Wyoming. So you can't tell me that you can't eat healthy and it's not, you know, it's not your fault. Like I said, this video really seems to like circle around the fact that people do make choices. And I think that you do have to put it into people's faces that, you know, the reasons that they're having these problems, the reason why they feel so bad is because of the choices that they made. You know, force people to take accountability, force yourself to take accountability, and make the changes that you have to take. Because I mean, this is just nothing but victim stuff here. Like, at what point are they in this video going to be like, oh, you know, it's these people's fault, right? That they're shoving Twinkies in their mouth. Like, no, it's their fault that they woke up and decided to get in their car and drive a mile to McDonald's and eat like 3 McGriddles, right? These are personal choices.
Part and educating people as to what even an unhealthy diet looks like.
Meet our friend and Yes Theory subscriber, Surya. She works at a medical clinic here in McAllen and is training to become a doctor. As a resident of the most obese city in America, Surya has developed a passion for helping her fellow residents to better understand and manage their diet and wellness.
If I just say, oh, you need to eat healthier, they don't know what that looks like. They just know what they've been growing up eating. Nutrition is basically not in our curriculum at all. Like, maybe we get 1 to 2 hours throughout our entire 4 years of medical education.
I think we've all been around long enough, and we have social media, that we know what's healthy and what isn't. Like I said, this lady's whole shtick is that it's not people's fault. Like, it doesn't take a genius to say that, you know, a piece of grilled chicken and a piece of fried chicken aren't the same thing, right? People know better. I mean, we just have a general understanding. It's in our collective unconscious, subconscious, whatever, at this point, that we know what's healthy and what isn't, just because, you know, we have our social media in front of us. We have it. It's part of how we grow up now. You know, it says, you know, what's good and what's bad. I mean, plus this knowledge is just out there. I mean, if you're going about like the guy who ate McDonald's all the time, you know, for 30 days, and then, you know, like, there's nothing but mukbangers out there. The body positivity movement. I mean, people see the consequences of that now as people are just kind of falling off the earth. So to say that, you know, people don't know what's healthy, I mean, listen, where are you growing up? You know, are you a feral child, like, growing up eating trash out of a trash can? And you've never had any kind of education at all? Because I can see that. But even in elementary school, I remember them telling me, hey, broccoli is healthy, French fries aren't. I mean, we know what this is. Like, what kind of people are you talking to where they're like, you know, I think ice cream calories are the same thing as apple calories. And this is...
that elucidate these root causes of why American health is plummeting and how environmental factors are causing it. I took 0 nutrition courses in medical school. What we are dealing with here is so much more than a physical health crisis. This is a spiritual crisis.
I mean, I agree with that. I think that and you hear this from a lot of doctors nowadays, especially like with all the nutrition information that's out there on the internet, and them say that they don't learn anything about nutrition when they're in med school. But I mean, you're a doctor. Like you look at blood panel results, or blood panels, and blood results all the time. Do you really need education, nutrition to tell people that they shouldn't be eating so much salt, so much sugar, that they shouldn't be drinking all the time, that they shouldn't be going to fast food all the time? Is a doctor really going to say that the calories from a corn dog are the same as the calories from a piece of chicken breast? No. I mean, they know these things. I always think it's a bit of a cope that comes from doctors, and I think it's just kind of used kind of in the conversation. Kind of to say that, oh, well, we're coming out of this age of ignorance. We're not in the age of ignorance, not when it comes to nutrition. Not when it comes to nutrition. When I was a kid, people didn't know better. I'm from a generation raised on McDonald's. I'm from a generation raised on Burger King. In the early 90s, my dad was stationed in Hawaii, and he'd take me to school. And every day, absolutely every day, we'd stop at Burger King, and I'd get like sausage, egg, and cheese and hash browns every day. Right? That was how my mornings went. And people just really didn't know. I mean, hey, food's food. But now, with all the science that's out there, it's all in your face all the time, right? Just headlines saying, this is healthy, this is gonna kill you, this is what you should have. I mean, it's a bit of a code. But is it a spiritual crisis? I think so. I think like kind of the capitalism, the corporatism, the consumerism of America and just the ease of access to all bad things that give instant gratification have left the real kind of vacuous personality, vacuous soul, like, I don't know, a hole. Because people really lack any kind of discipline. They lack any kind of control over their lives. And when you lack that kind of discipline, routine, control, I mean, your anxiety can spiral, your health goes down. Your mental health is absolutely in the toilet. Your social habits suffer as well. But I notice for me personally, when I exercise control in my diet, right? When I'm cutting out the bad things, when I'm actually saying no, and I'm actually sticking to the plan that I have, I feel better, like all around. Not only physically do I feel better, but my mentality feels better. No longer does my mental health suffer from not feeling like I'm in control of everything or anything. I feel like I can control the things that impact me, and that makes me feel better about pretty much everything. And honestly, it's something as small as diet can have a massive impact. So if you have no control with your diet, if you have no control with your lifestyle, I mean, spiritually you can suffer. This is true.
This is $21. This used to be my heaven back in the day.
Yeah, man. Brownies and muffins.
Brownies and muffins. That's my world.
73% of the items in your average supermarket are ultra-processed foods. The kinds of products that are now being linked to conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and dementia.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
How have you raised them differently, knowing that they're growing up in a town that is most unhealthy?
I try to cook more at home. That's basically it. Definitely the convenience of the fast food. Drive-through.
It's a big role to be a mother, so thank you for raising the next generation.
So I'm trying.
I think what's driving me crazy, and I'm noticing that now, the amount of bullshit on labels is unbelievable. You're just bombarded. You just have something. It's the shape of a heart. Lower cholesterol. It's 20 grams of grain per serving. You don't even know what that means.
Yeah, nobody falls for that anymore. No one looks at a box of cereal and says, this is healthy, even if it's Cheerios, even if it's like shredded wheat or something like that. Everyone knows that it's processed. Everyone knows that it's filled with corn syrup, that it has hidden sugar. Everyone knows that it's bad for you. No one looks at that, genuinely thinks that it's healthy. And them showing those grapes kind of in like the party package and showing how expensive they are. I mean, that's, like I said, there's a little bit of manipulation with this because they're trying to show you how unavailable grapes and stuff are. But if you were to walk to the other side of the store and actually shown the price of the grapes, I'm sure they would have been like 99 cents a pound. You could have got all that for probably $3 or $4. instead of $21. So I mean, it's just no one goes to a store and buys a part and said, "Hey, I want produce. I want some fruits. I'm going to get this pre-cut party pack." It's either you're terrible with money, or you have so much money that you don't care, honestly. But I mean, it's manipulative. What they should be doing is showing kind of the outside. If you're trying to be kind of healthy, and if you're hating on processed food, the things that you should be telling people are like, hey, never go to the inside aisles. Stick to the outside where the produce is, the fresh baked goods, the meats, the dairy, like all the healthy stuff, all the fresh stuff. So I think this is a bit silly.
Reduces heart disease. What the are you talking about?
I'll end with a question. If your grocery store has a health food section, what does that make the rest of the store? Thank you. People are being actively misled.
Yeah.
I don't even like to use the term, but it seems like they're, at times it's almost like a disinformation campaign. All of the healthiest items in the supermarket actually don't make health claims.
Yeah.
Like you won't find health claims on a piece of grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You won't find health claims on a dozen eggs. You won't find health claims on a bush of kale. All of the health claims that you'll find in the supermarket, the front of package labeling, are all adorning ultra-processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
The healthiest foods in the supermarket don't need to make health claims.
We are ranting about these cereals here. They are saying that they are healthy and good, but I don't know if we trust them. Do you?
You want my honest opinion when it comes to cereal. You put a little heart on it, people are just assuming it's healthy. And that's not really the case. Because the moment you put some sugar on it or anything, frosted anything, it's not healthy. It doesn't matter if you get like regular Cheerios or anything like that, they're still putting like all that sugar in your body.
Do you find it harder to make healthier food choices in a place where the options are very limited?
I think that's just a nationwide problem because all the healthy options are restricted by a price tag.
This is a cope. Look, I mean, first off, look where you found this guy, right? You found this guy in front of the Little Debbie's aisle, right? I like a Nutty Buddy bar, right? I like a Swiss roll, but this guy knows exactly, what he's doing. I mean, just listen to what he's saying. It's absolutely pushing off his own accountability, but it's pushing off the fact that he's been making these choices for his entire life, because there's not a single bit of muscle on this guy. This is just pure body fat. This is somebody who doesn't take any care of themselves at all. And for him to be saying like, oh, it's because it's because of prices that I've been eating like this. Has it? I mean, this guy's like in his 30s. He may be younger, but he's been eating so badly that he looks like he's in his late 30s. And that means he grew up in the 90s. He grew up in the 2000s. And food was really cheap back then compared to it is now. So, I mean, this is the result of a lifetime of choices. So this guy's, it's just 100% cope. This guy needs to go to the gym and get out of this Little Debbie section.
Say you live paycheck to paycheck. Getting stuff that are just like healthier, it's not feasible sometimes.
From the food perspective, addiction is the business model. If we can get more people to jam more fake industrial food, they eat themselves to death and then end up in a hospital. It's a revolving door of profit that we are born into.
Dr. Casey Means is a physician, entrepreneur, and health optimization expert. After graduating from Stanford, she worked for years as a surgeon before shifting her focus to preventive and functional medicine. Since then, she has become somewhat of a whistleblower against the American medical system, believing that there is much more advocacy needed for addressing lifestyle and diet issues. We got inspired through her eye-opening book, Good Energy, which presents a case for a metabolic-focused approach to health, and luckily got the chance to sit down with her to dig deeper into the American healthcare system.
So we live in what is ostensibly like the most prosperous and one of the safest times in human history, and we are very depressed. Our life expectancy is going down. So then you have to say, what is different in the last 50 to 100 years that could be making our cells not work properly? The largest industry in the entire country, therefore the largest industry in the entire world, because America is the richest country in the world, is healthcare. Healthcare has a business model focused on getting more patients through the system as quickly as possible.
I think as an Egyptian, and he's Swedish, we know that America is the biggest exporter of culture in the world.
Yep.
And what we see in the movies with how people eat and drink is literally how other places around the world strive to eat and drink. It's like, yes, it affects America, but ultimately all of this eventually gets it.
I think that's a bit silly. Listen, no one strives to eat like Americans do. Everyone in the world knows that Americans eat unhealthy, right? Only an idiot would think that. And also, like, kind of trying to find one thing to explain, like, you know, why America is so, like, mentally, socially, and physically unhappy and unwell. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a cumulative effect of, you know, breaking down social bonds, breaking down the importance of family, breaking down femininity and masculinity, you know, making everyone work all the time to the point where they can't eat healthy, you know, or it's harder for them to eat healthy. It's harder for them to make good choices, you know, taking away everyone's free time. And on top of that, putting in just like, you know, just a general sense of paranoia and anxiety because of, you know, our politics. Just to say that, oh, it's simply the healthcare industry. I think it's really reductionist, and it's really not productive.
Export it to the rest of the world.
When America coughs, the whole world gets sick.
True Fit seems like the biggest, one of the biggest gyms here. Let me just take a look inside of Alaska. They had like the first thing that you saw on the screen in there is a custom meal plan, which was very interesting because it makes sense. As soon as you walk out of here and you just look anywhere around, a meal anywhere around here would ruin a full gym session that you had.
One of the first pillars of maintaining a healthy lifestyle is obviously exercise, and more specifically incorporating exercise into your daily routine. However, this can be easier said than done. Take a city such as Paris, for example. Here, walking to work or to meet friends is the norm, largely because of the city's design, and oftentimes is actually more inconvenient to drive to your destination. Compare that to McAllen and many rural cities.
I mean, I couldn't agree more with that. You just look at the picture of America there. What do you see? No sidewalks, really. It's not safe to walk on the side of the road. Here's the thing. If you walk everywhere in America, you are either a weirdo, homeless, or a meth head. Those are the only people who walk everywhere. Because it's in our culture that, like, why would I walk? I mean, there are people who will drive to the other side of the block. And it's easy to fall in line with that. It's easy to kind of, you know, get with that mentality because it's, like I said, it's the path of least resistance. But, you know, it just, you know, contrast that to the picture they showed of Paris, and everyone's outside, everyone's walking around. Because in Europe, that's what it is. Everyone is outside walking around because their cities are designed. They predate vehicles, they predate cars, so it's much easier for them. It's more natural for them to go out and just have a walk. And although you do see obese people all over the world, you do see obese people, you know, all over Europe, it's not to the same degree. It's not to the same degree just because you have to be more active just to exist. If you want to do anything and you're living in Europe, you have to be able to walk. I mean, like I said, when we were living in Europe, you know, we were walking like 5 to 10 miles a day. This is normal. So
climate-wise,
yeah.
It's very hot down here. This is the coolest it's been the entire year.
It's 90 degrees.
Yes.
We're sweating.
Yes.
We're like, can we even be out today?
No, during summers, you can't bear to walk outside. So if people are wanting to incorporate exercise that is free, it's super, super hard. Pointing the fingers like, why aren't you exercising? Well, it's harder to get out there.
It has to be said whenever you travel to anywhere else on the planet that you realize that Americans and people from the West in general have a real dependency and addiction to air conditioning. This is something that I went through. Like when I first moved to Greece, I think it was like 80 degrees, right? 80 degrees isn't even that bad. I mean, to me now, 80 degrees is like, that's nice, pleasant weather. I might still wear a long sleeve because why not? But, you know, coming from colder climates and always having air conditioning, you know, for years and years and years, most people don't actually have to tolerate the heat. So the body loses the ability to tolerate heat. And it's really weird. And you feel like, man, I've really damaged a biological system that my body has evolved to have. Because like a lot of people, I feel like they kind of lose the ability to sweat. I realized like the more time I spent in hot climates, the more time I was out actually doing things kind of, and I wasn't able to actually have air conditioning either because we didn't have it or just because it makes the energy bill so expensive. The more I began to sweat, the easier I would sweat and my body would cool itself down naturally. That's how it should be. So she says 90 degrees, nobody can go outside. 90 degrees, to me, is nice weather. That's when you're out doing stuff. Once you get up to like, 100, 105, I mean, yeah, okay, that'll hold you back. But you like go to Southeast Asia or something like that, where it's always in the 90s. It doesn't stop. People will complain about it, but it doesn't stop people from going out and doing stuff, because what else are you going to do? Just sit inside all day? Terrible idea.
One of the final stops of this trip was to meet someone who almost lost her life to obesity, Alejandra. She had reached out through the Yes Fan when she heard about us filming this story with hope of sharing some insight from her personal experience into how the American health system not only didn't help her, but actively made her circumstances worse.
Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for taking the time.
My dog's name is Jovi, after Bon Jovi.
Oh,
His full name is Jovi Tyler, after Bon Jovi and Steven Tyler.
I see. Yeah, we texted like this morning, and you've been on a journey and are on a journey.
I'm appreciative of you taking the time to even talk to me. I think it was when I was about 6 or 7 that I moved here to the US, because like when we lived in Mexico, my mom and my grandma were the ones taking care of my diet. So everything was homemade. I never got any processed foods growing up. They were very strict with it. But once we started school here, we started having.
That's one thing I do like about what we're seeing now, this kind of return to cottage culture. Like it's becoming almost like a subculture. It's becoming a bit of a trend to like, make your own sourdough, preserve your own vegetables and jams and jellies, have your own chickens to have eggs. And you're like, oh, well, only privileged people can do this. Maybe the eggs thing, but everything else you can do. Basically, it's just, like I said, realizing that to be healthy, maybe you have to do things a little bit harder. And you really see that, I think, through the older generations. It's just more natural because they have more of a discerning eye when it comes to like what's going to be healthy, what they're going to put in their body. Because I think there was more food scarcity back then, and people had to be a little more wiser with with the decisions that they made. It's just not as easy as it is now.
Lunch at school, and at first I wouldn't want to eat it because I wasn't used to it, because it was pizza, chicken nuggets, burgers, things that I didn't like because I wasn't used to them. And my mom got called into the school and got told that we needed to eat her lunch.
Free lunches at school are fairly common around the world. However, in Japan, for example, school lunches are highly structured and focused on balanced, freshly prepared meals. Compare that to the US, where the average cafeteria is often serving highly processed, calorie-dense meals like pizza, chicken nuggets, and fries. There are a number of reasons why this has been allowed to happen, including cost constraints, poor federal guidelines, but perhaps the worst impact comes from food lobby influence.
The food that we were raised on, it's pretty insane that, that's what we ate every day. Every day, that's what we had. The square pizza, the chocolate milk. It's not even real chocolate milk, just corn syrup, flavoring, and maybe skim milk, which is the worst kind of milk you can possibly have. But I feel like this probably has something to do with the problem that we have now with like food allergies, and a lot of people's metabolic health is just because like that trash, that bottom of the barrel, like zero nutritional garbage that they fed us for our entire childhood. What damage has that done? Because that's probably the most chemically just junked up food you can possibly have, and you gave it to people day in and day out when they're in probably the most vulnerable part of their lives, where they were like they need the best nutrition so they can grow and be healthy. So how many of the physical and psychological conditions do we have now that are the result of just 15 to 18 years of just eating this trash every day? So I don't really know what they have now as far as school lunches, and I'm glad that other countries are on top of that. I really hope it's not the same as it is as it was in America. I guess I'll be finding out, because there's no way I'll be feeding my kid this. He'll be getting a lunchbox with some healthy stuff, because there's no way.
The industry spends millions on lobbying and campaign contributions to influence lawmakers for their inclusion in school cafeterias. This was no clearer than in 2011, when Congress allowed a mere 2 tablespoons of tomato paste on pizza to count as a vegetable serving. This decision was heavily lobbied by the frozen pizza industry, which fought against stricter nutritional guidelines.
a lot of these tobacco companies ended up buying up these ultra-processed food companies. Wow. And there is data that suggests all the same criteria that tobacco products do, ultra-processed foods tick off all of those same boxes. This is why the advice that an overweight or obese person will often hear to just eat less and move more is really actually quite condescending and even insulting, because it's really hard.
All right. Like I said, all this stuff really, I mean, yeah, okay. The whole entire system is designed to poison you. We all know that. The food is terrible. We all know that. Like the cities are designed for you not to move. We all know that. You can't trust the government. We all know that. So really what it comes down to is personal choice. You know, if you know that all these things are working against you and you still choose to, you know, have them be part of your life or use them as, you know, barriers and controls for your daily behavior, then this is on you. All of this comes down to personal choices. All this comes down to accountability. You have to see that, as much as, like, you know, the system is designed to just keep us weak and unhealthy and, you know, take our masculinity away, our femininity, you know, make us the most less versions of ourselves, the softest versions of ourselves. It's not something that you have to go through. You know, like through your choices, through your actions, you know, you can be a better you. You can be a more masculine you. You can be a more, you know, feminine you. Whatever you want to be. You know, but you can be healthier. You know, your mental health can be better as well. I mean, like I said, it takes control. It takes structure, routine. You know, meal prep is good. Just go to the gym. You know. No, don't just stay on your phone. Don't just play video games, but actually, you know, go and get that exercise that your body needs. Go and get that sun that you need, or you're going to suffer. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to stop it for today. So, I mean, it's a decent video. I think it's a little manipulative when it comes to like the prices that they're showing. They're showing that because it really does show like, oh, people don't have a choice. And I feel like that's what this whole video is just kind of showing that, oh, you know, well, people in America don't have a choice. People in America do have a choice. You do have a choice. You have to take an extra step. But the amount of luxuries that you have in your life should make these choices easier to make, right? Everyone has great kitchens, you know, that they can cook in. Everyone has access to clean meats and clean foods. Like I said, it's on the outside aisles that they don't show. And if you actually go look at those prices, you know, it's absolutely doable as well. Is it hyper palatable? Does it taste as good? At first, no. But eventually your palate changes, and what you want are healthy things. What you want are more pure things. People don't realize that your tongues are burnt out because of all the chemicals that they put in the seasonings. You know, like when people say something's bland, okay, well, you know, deprive yourself from long enough, and something that you thought was bland ends up being very flavorful. If you go without junk food and fried food and spices or whatever, you can eat like just a baked sweet potato with nothing on it at all, right? Once you get that reset of your taste buds, and that's super flavorful. You can actually taste what meat tastes like again, because like we don't realize we put so much seasoning on our meats that we don't actually taste the chicken. Most people don't like the taste of just chicken, just beef, just fish. They like the things that it's seasoned with. So, I don't know, make good choices, you know, fight the system because, you know, it's, you know, don't let the system control your life, because the system wants to keep you as weak and lonely and just broken as possible. So, you know, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. This is a new thing. If you have any comments, any questions, put them down in the comment section. We're going to make a video where we actually kind of go through the questions and answer these, so we can get a discussion going. But Yes Theory, it's a huge channel, and you know, a lot of people watch this stuff, and I think it's a little dangerous. I think it is a little manipulative, but tell me what you think. Have a good one.